Greetings and welcome to Auntie Side Eye. Please like, comment, and subscribe. This is the story of Melissa Lucio. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. It's from the Innocence Project, and she's due for execution on April 27th. It says Melissa Lucio is facing execution on April 27th of 2022 in Texas for the murder of her 2-year-old daughter Mariah, a crime that never occurred. Mariah died 2 days after accidentally falling down a steep flight of stairs, and Melissa has maintained her innocence on death row for more than 14 years. Nearly 1 in 3 exonerated women were wrongly convicted of harming children or other loved ones in their care, and nearly 70% were wrongfully convicted of crimes that never took place at all. Events that were accidents, deaths by suicide, and fabricated according to data from the National Registry of Exonerations. Melissa's story. She was born in Lubbock, Texas, to a Catholic Mexican-American family living below the poverty line. Melissa's earliest memories are of her mother struggling to escape the blows of her partner. Older relatives began to sexually assault and abuse Melissa from the time she was 6 years old. As a child, she was repeatedly sexually abused and became a child bride at the age of 16 with hopes of escaping her abusive environment. Unfortunately, her life did not get easier. At the time of Mariah's accident, Melissa had 12 children between the ages of 2 and 15 and was pregnant with twins she would ultimately give birth to in prison and have to give up for adoption. She struggled at times to provide for her family, but was a caring mother who did her best given her incredibly difficult circumstance. The state of Texas presented no physical evidence establishing that Melissa ever abused Mariah or any of her children. In fact, thousands of pages of Child Protective Services records show that Melissa's 12 children never said she was violent with them. Yet in 2008, Melissa was convicted based on statements she made to law enforcement in Cameron County after more than 5 hours of coercive interrogations that began the same night her youngest child died and continued until 3 a.m. the next day. After hours of relentless, aggressive interrogation in the presence of armed detectives, she broke down and told investigators what they wanted to hear to make the questioning stop. "I guess I did it. I'm responsible." She was pregnant with twins the night of the interrogation. This kind of happens a lot. People who are put under these intense interrogation tactics, and they just want it to stop, and so they just say, okay, fine, I did it. And that gets a lot of people in trouble, but some of these tactics I don't agree with either. Coerced false confessions are the leading cause of wrongful conviction and even more prevalent amongst women wrongly convicted of killing a child like Melissa. As a survivor of lifelong sexual abuse and domestic violence, Melissa was especially vulnerable to police coercion, but at trial she was prevented from presenting any evidence that would have explained why she falsely confessed during the interrogation. Lacking solid physical evidence, Cameron County District Attorney Armando Villalobos presented her statement to the jury as a confession to homicide and sought the death penalty, a win he thought would help him get reelected. Today, that former district attorney is serving 13 years in federal prison for robbery and extortion. The Cameron County's new district attorney, the courts, the Texas Board of Pardons, and parolees, and Governor Abbott must undertake a meaningful review of Melissa's innocence claim, the coercive tactics used in her interrogation, and the tragic circumstances of Mariah's accidental death before an irreversible justice occurs. So, if she's innocent, sure, she shouldn't be put to death, and I do think that they need to take another look at this. The only question I have is if the baby had a really bad accident 2 days before by falling down the steps. Why wasn't she taken to the hospital? You know, maybe she didn't have the resources to do that or something. You know, anything is possible. She had a lot of kids. But I personally think they need to take another look at this because I would hate to see an innocent person be put to death. I'm going to leave the link to this article in the description below, and there's a place on here where you can sign a petition. If you feel like you want to, you can sign a petition that they're going to present to the governor to have him submit a pardon or to have this case looked at again before the April 27th date. Thank you and have a good evening.